All right, everybody, I think we're live. It's Robin Nolan here, and let me just check the light. Welcome to a Live with Robin session. Everybody, welcome. I'm in Amsterdam at the moment at home, and I hope a Happy New Year, by the way. Hope you've had a great start to the year. And I'm just going to click over to the Transfusion site so I can check out the comments. And welcome everybody. George is in Scotland. Hope everyone's doing well. In this session, we're going to cover Swing Gitane, which is a gypsy jazz standard of no fixed composer. Swing Gitane, you call it, Swing Gitane, gypsy swing. And in this session, part one, we're going to look at the chords, okay? So the chords, I'm going to give you some chord options. We're going to look at the rhythm. I'm going to give you a couple of really nice ideas for an intro or a different kind of way of playing this tune as well. Morris is in Indiana. Welcome, Morris. Say hi if you're in the house. It's good to know there's people here, and I know there are people here. So big warm welcome. Also, big warm welcome to new members. I know there's a lot of new members who have joined since the new year, and welcome to everyone. The Gypsy Jazz Transfusion Club is a place that I've created to really help everybody learn this music in a fun, easygoing way, right? So I'm kind of, that's the whole mantra here. Jan Hendrik is greetings from sunny Sevilla. Guitar tuned, ready to swing. That's what it's all about. Guitar tuned, ready to swing. Yeah, Swing Gitane is a great tune. So it's the tune that goes, by the way, before I get started, I do have a lesson plan. After this session is finished, the live session. Hi, Paul, welcome. Paul is in sunny Tunbridge Wells, welcome. After this live session is finished, I'll post this video in the campfire under the Live with Robin section. So there's kind of a bit of a archive building up there, and this will be called Swing Gitane Part 1. Welcome, Andreas from Hamburg. And I'll post the video there, and I'll post this lesson plan. And also I've got a couple of charts which I'm just getting done, and when they're ready, I'll post the charts, the musical notation and tab, which I'm having done, and I'll post them also in the Live with Robin section. So you'll get this video, you'll get the lesson plan, and also a chart, a musical chart to help you with the fingering. So with this lesson plan, basically, it's all about Swing Gitane. So we're going to learn the chords to this standard. And also, I've got some rhythm tips here and some tips on swinging in general, which I think is what it's all about. And I've also got a couple of really nice intros you can use for this song. Mark's in Queens. Welcome, Mark. No questions right now. Okay, great. I'll get on. If anytime you've got a question, I can see the questions right here. So if there's something that comes up, don't be shy. Just type it in. Yuchi, welcome, Yuchi. A lot of people in the house. So we're talking about this tune, Swing Gitane. So da, do, do, de. So I'll play the rhythm and chords, and I'll sing really badly to it, just to give you some context of what this tune is. I'll play the basic chords and sing the tune really badly. Okay, so it's ba bo bo be dum da do do dee da do do dee dum dum do do dee. A flat. Second half. Da bo bo be. Welcome, Wayne. Ba bo bo be ba do do be dum dum do do dee. So that's the tune. Yuchi says, long time no see. Great. Well, here we are now. So that's good. So this is the tune. It's really popular in gypsy jazz. The reason is because it's kind of evocative of that gypsy kind of mood. It's got that great change from G minor to A7, right? Which is a really good change. It's one of the only tunes which does that. Goes from chord 1 in the minor, right, to chord 2, the dominant 7. So it's a really nice change. And the melody is really easy to play as well. I'll teach that in part 2, which will be the next Live with Robin session. And it's just really fun. You can play it at a light, bouncy tempo, like bum, 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 bum. So it doesn't have to be really fast. It actually sounds great when it's played nice and relaxed. And like I say, the melody's nice and easy. It's kind of a singable melody, so the audience really likes it. So it's a really nice one to play. Great versions from Angelo DeBar. He's quite known for playing this tune. Angelo DeBar is one of the great players in the gypsy jazz world. So let's look at the chord sequence. I've got it written out here. I will post a professional chart in the Live with Robin section when the lesson is over. But just for now, I've written out the chords here on a yellow piece of paper so you can see them. So you can see it's G minor. There's actually only four chords to learn in this piece. So there's G minor, A7, D7, and A flat major. They're the only chords you need to learn. This is the sequence. So I'm going to go through that sequence now. I'll give you a couple of options for each chord, okay? And let's go. And if you've got any questions, just stop me and type them in. So first chord, it's in the key of G minor, right? You can play this basic 3-note chord. And if you're brand new to this music, then this is the inversion that you'll be using. It's really useful, this inversion, not to be sniffed at. So G is the bottom note. You've got the E, and you've got the B flat. So it's 3 notes in this chord, and it's G minor 6, okay? And we use this chord all over gypsy jazz in lots of different contexts as well. But for now, this chord is G minor 6, though. So play muted, the A string, then the E, the 2nd fret on the D string, then the B flat, 3rd fret on the G string. So we're not playing the B and E string, we're just playing those 3 notes. So that's the first chord, and we play that for 2 bars. So ba, bo, bo, be, ba, da, and then that's A7, right? A7. So there's A7. Right, you might know A7, but we can play it here. 5th fret, 5th fret on the D string, and 6th fret on the G string. The A7 is really handy, right? That sounds good. Again, just the 3 notes is sounding good. Mark says, my girlfriend walked in and says, hi, Robin. Hi, girlfriend. Hi, Mark's girlfriend. Hope you're having a good morning. And hope you're behaving yourself, Mark. So here's A7, A, G, C sharp, okay? So we're going da, do, do, dee, da, da, do, do, dee. So 2 bars. I'm not swinging it yet. This is how we learn the standards, or how I teach standards, is just to first learn the chords, then we apply the rhythm. So 2 bars of G minor. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, A7, 3, 4, 3, 2, then D7. Okay, we'll use this D7 here. You see the D7 there. You might know that. Right, it's that shape, D7. It's kind of handy if you play the bass note with the A. So, right, the reason is not harmonic. It's just that kind of it's handy for your right hand when you're playing the rhythm, not to have to pick out the D, but just kind of go down and hit the bottom E string and hit the chords. So it's handy if you play the A and the bass there. Joe says, you fret the A7 with yours. Yeah, I do. Some people fret the A7 like this, 1, 2, 3, which would make sense because then you've got A13 as well here, right? But I don't know why, but I fret it with 2, 3, 4, like Joe says, 2. That's how I fret the A7 chord. Any of these fingerings, you know, I'm not the most orthodox player, so I encourage people, if they play the chord in a weird way, just stick to that weird way, because that's how you'll stand out, you know, just being weird. So I play the A7 like that with 2, 3, 4. That does give the possibility to play, I guess. Right? You could play the A7 like this. Okay? So far, we've got G minor 6. Da, da, there's the A7. Do, do, dee. You don't add the C sharp. Not in this inversion. I'll show you another one right now. So Joe's talking about A7, which is, let let's just keep context here. Swing Gitan, that's the tune we're learning. G minor was the first chord, 2 bars. Second chord is A7 for 2 bars. So that's what Joe's asking about. The A7, I was going like this. 3 notes, so I'm not playing. Right, I'm not playing that C sharp in this voicing. I'm playing, right, because with the C sharp, it can sound a bit clunky, a bit too dense, a bit too woolly, if you know what I mean. The 3-note voicing can sound a little bit more in the pocket. Okay, another voicing for A7 you could use is this one. Then indeed you do have the C sharp, which Joe mentioned. C sharp, a massive note in A, right? You've got the third of the chord there. And in Gypsy Jazz, we play this as an A7 a lot. Right, so you've got 4th fret on the A string, 5th fret on D string, 4th fret on the G string, 5th fret on the B string. So right, that chord in this context is A7 with a C sharp in the bass. You can also bar it over to get the tonic. You get the A, da, da. You can get the A on top there, which sounds really crunchy as well. But mostly, you're just going to play those 4 notes. So you could go da, do, do, dee, da, da, do, dee. See that C sharp in the bass for the A7? Or da, do, do, dee. That's a bit more rooted because you've got the root in the bass, right? But that different sound. And as a rhythm guitarist, it's nice to know you've got options. You don't always have to play the same voicing, so you can select the voicing on what kind of texture you want to create. And I think that's cool. As a rhythm guitarist, you've got a lot of options. So including the first chord, we learned this G minor, right? But a slightly more open one would be this, right? Using the thumb. Then you've got, this is like a simplified version of the big thumb chords, but for me this one really works. You've got the G in the bass, right? You've got the D, you've got the 5th there, 5th fret of the A string and the A string. You've got the D string is muted. You've got the minor 3rd, the 3rd fret on the G string, and you've got the 6th with your pinky. So right, it's not barred. Each of the notes is right. You've got a nice open G minor 6 sound with that thumb. And the thumb, when I first started playing this music, the thumb was a pain in the ass. I couldn't really get the thumb going, and so I kind of shied away from it for quite a few years. But recently, or the past few years, let's say, I've kind of got into playing with the thumb because of the grip more than anything. You kind of get that nice grip with your left hand and your left arm. And when you're playing rhythm, it kind of makes you feel a little bit balanced. You've got your right hand pumping the right hand. And the left hand has got that nice grip on the and with that G being with the thumb, you kind of get that grip. And here's one thing. When you go between D7 played like this, which we looked at just then, right? D7. And if you go between D7 and G minor using that thumb, watch how the hand doesn't move that much. So it's really quite an economical way of going from chord 5, D7, to chord 1, G, in this case, G minor. So, and that happens all the time in Gypsy Jazz. You've got E7 to A minor, the same thing, right? And if you look at this hand, when I change chord, it doesn't move that much. So D7, G minor, D7, G minor, right? D7. So you got that, only that little change, and the thumb remains locked there, giving you that grip, which gives you the, somehow it gives you that balance when you're trying to swing, and that's what it's all about. We'll get to that. So swing Gitan, G minor for 2 bars, A7 for 2 bars, D7 for 2 bars, back home to G minor for 2 bars. Now we go to A flat major, right? We go, see how we've gone G minor for 2 bars. We've gone A7 for 2 bars, D7 for 2 bars, back home to G minor for 2 bars. Now we go to A flat. And that's kind of one of the other cool things about this tune. It's kind of, it's a little bit quirky that it goes up a fret to the major, A flat major there, then before going back home there. So the A flat, we can play simply like that, a bar chord on the 4th fret, right? Nothing wrong with that. And when the tempo's really flying in gypsy jazz, or when you really want to make it sound crunchy, using those bar chords, it really sounds good than using like a flowery chord, like, you know, an A major 7 like that wouldn't, A flat major 7 wouldn't sound so good when you're playing that swing. So the more crunchy and kind of angular those voices, the more it helps with the swing. And that's what we're trying to do when we're playing rhythm. Okay, so don't get too caught out by lots of extensions and fancy chords. Keep them simple. A flat can be played like that. Or you could use the thumb again, same position, and the same chord, except it's going to go. Right, this time it's major because the second finger is, it's not, that would be A flat minor, right? But it's A flat major, right? And that's A flat major 6. So if you played that without using your thumb, you play, right? Which is also fine. I'm suggesting the thumb because of that grip. So let's go through the chord changes. Remember, there's only 4 chords to this piece, okay? So all you got to do is work out which order they go. And if you use your ears and use logic and play it 1,000 times, which I recommend if you have the time, then you're going to know this tune inside out. And when you know the tune, when you know the changes, it's going to help you with your soloing, okay? So don't just think, oh, I'm bored. You know, I know that it goes G, A7. Ingrain it into your soul because it's going to make it easy when you start soloing. Okay, so let's go through the changes. I'm going to play the fancy chord, the thumb chords when I do those ones. But you don't have to. Remember, you've got the G minor 6, and you could play the bar chord like that. Okay, so from the top, 2, 3, 4, da, do, do, B, A7, ba, do, do, D, D7, ba, bo, do, B, back home, ba, bo, do, B, up 1 fret, A flat major, back home. Now we've got A7 for 2 bars, D7. Now the second half of the tune, same as the first, G minor, A7, D7, G minor. We're going to go up 1 fret, A flat, back home. The ending, 1 bar of A7, 1 bar of D7, back home, then a D7, and then we start again. Okay, so you've got that progression now. It's basically a 32 bar progression, but obviously you're not going to think that when I say to you, let's play Swing G Tan, you're not going to say, yeah, that's cool because it's a 32 bar sequence, but it's just a number, and everything's kind of logical mostly in gypsy jazz. You know, there's 4s, 8s. And we've got the 16 bars repeated, basically. So you've got the first time through, the second time through. So ba bo bo be da da do do dee da do do dee dum da do do dee up to A flat, 2 4 1 2 3 4, G minor 1 2, A7 for 2 bars, D7 for 2 bars. Now the second half again, G minor. D da da, A7 do do D, D7 2 bars, D da, G minor 2 bars, up to A flat major, back to G minor. This time we're going to do the second time, 1 bar A7, 1 bar D7, 1 bar G minor, and D7, and we're ready to start the progression again. Now I'll post the chord sequence in the in this post, in the Live with Robin post. So you'll have the chart actually with the chord shapes written out as well. And my advice is just to try and memorize these changes. And I'm always telling people, and I'm telling myself as well, it's like learn less things, but learn them really well than learn more things and kind of half know them. Because I know lots of people who, do you know Swing Jitan? I said, yeah, I kind of do. Is it? And then they kind of half do, and then they half know thousands of tunes. I would say it's better to know 10 tunes inside out than 100 tunes half knowing them. So there's the chord changes. Mark says, of course, Jangology is 30 bars with the crazy B section. It really messed me for a while. That's true. Some of these tunes have got little quirks about them, but mostly they're in the multiples of 4. So the bridge, 8-bar bridge, it's usually four bars here and there. But anyway, there's the chord changes to. Danilo says, hi, Robin, can you just show your pick for a moment? Yeah, I've got this pick. Tell me if you can see it. Okay, so it's actually a pick which I was at a festival. Where was I? I was in America. I was in America, big country. I was in Madison in Wisconsin at the Midwest Gypsy Swing Fest. And this guy called Sims, who's a mandolin player, gave me this pick. And it's an American pick, a blue chip pick, which I think people use a lot for bluegrass picking kind of stuff. And actually, I like it. It's got a soft sound. It's not as rigid as some of the picks you use in this music. And it kind of gives you a soft thing. So there's the pick. Danilo was asking about the pick. Morris says, this is an outstanding lesson. Wow. That's what I want to hear. That keeps me going. I'm glad you think so. Yu Chi says, expansive. That's great. Or does he mean expensive? I don't know. Hopefully expansive. So how's everybody doing? Great. So look, back to the lesson plan, right? This lesson plan keeps everything focused. Let's learn the 4 simple chords. Okay, we've done that. G minor, A7, D7, and we learn A flat. And then we put it in this sequence. Okay, we put them in the right order. Then, bingo, we had Swing Jitan, and it sounds great. So you just got to memorize that sequence. And the way to memorize it is just play it as much as possible. Don't be distracted by other tunes. Focus on this tune and learn it. Okay, there's the sequence. Right, number 2. Got 9 points to get through here. Number 2 is absorb to memory. That's what I was just talking about. Absorb these chords to memory. And the note is your soloing skills depend on it. Okay? So if you absorb these chords to memory, that means you don't have to think about it. You just play them. G minor, A7, D7, G minor, A flat, back to G minor, A7, D7. If you just know them, if they're ingrained, then your soloing skills do depend on it, because then when you're soloing around these things, you're basically doing the same thing. You're thinking of the chords, and you're basically making melodic lines over those chords. And the better you know the chords, the easier it is to be able to solo, okay? So again, it goes with the same thing of learning less tunes, but learning them well, okay? And this is what we're looking at rhythm. In part 2, we'll look at the solo. And so the reason you want to absorb these to memory is because, one reason is because your soloing skills depend on it, okay? Important point. I've got a few rhythm tips now to look at the actual swing here. Yuchi says, I mean, that pick is is it expensive? I was lucky enough to be given this pick. I don't know how much they cost. How much they cost? Maybe something like $20 or something like that, which is expensive for a pick, but I don't know. I would buy another one for $20. Rhythm tips here. I've got 4 rhythm tips, right? This is for, look, we can't practice enough to try and get the swing and the rhythm right. Okay. So I'm going to go through some important tips which can help you and help me to stay on focus when we're swinging. Rhythm tip number 1, accentuate the bass notes. Try raking. Right? Accentuate the bass notes. What I mean by that, if you play a chord like this, right? This is that G minor. Okay. Right. What I mean by accentuate the bass notes is, for example, if I didn't accentuate, if I just played the right hand over the whole 6 strings, it starts to sound pretty terrible. It can sound terrible. Something like this. Mark says more like $50. Okay, that's expensive. $50. Well, believe it or not, I haven't lost it. I've only got one of these, so I'll definitely take care not to lose it. Okay, so if I played the pick too much over the top strings, excuse me, over the top strings, then it's going to sound it's going to sound a bit scratchy. I don't know if you can tell, but if I play more concentrating on the, so basically usually we're going to connect with the bottom half of the 6 strings. So but we'll go until the G here. So I don't even really bring that note so much out. We're going to kind of be bottom heavy, if you know what I mean, kind of like. And the aim of trying to get bottom heavy with these bottom strings is to kind of make that growly sound, which is a real compliment. If someone says your rhythm is really growly, that's a really good thing. You want to get it really kind of purring, and to do that, you're not going like this. You're not whacking the one bottom string, then whacking the other strings. You're not going, right? That's not a nice sound. What we're doing is kind of, and the second point, which you'll see these, I'll post these in the forum, but I said accentuate the bass notes. So we're going to go bottom heavy. We're not going to go through the strings. We're going to go through the bottom half of the strings. And also we're going to try raking. This is something which my brother Kevin does, and it always sounds good. So he's kind of like, he's kind of raking the strings, if you know what I mean. He's going kind of really kind of raking through them to bring that kind of like sound out. Also, when I'm teaching rhythm, I kind of liken it to the left hand of the piano. When you play a piano chord, say 4 notes, those 4 notes, or just those 3 notes, it's kind of like they come out at the same time. You press the 3 notes and they come out at the same time, which is a kind of nice sound, rather than going right, not going boom, jink, boom, jink, boom. We're going bing, 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 which in my opinion makes it swing harder, right? So we're going to kind of like try and bring those notes out at the same time, if you can. Right? Brent says, does Kevin something the same time rake while kind of letting the knuckles deaden it a bit? Good point, and that's what I was actually going to talk to next. Brent's got a good point there. Use fingers to soften sound. I found this really successful with students and myself in trying to get a swinging sound when we're playing this music. And using your fingers to soften the sound. Brent mentions the knuckles to deaden it a bit. We're talking about the pick, right? So we're playing with the pick, and we're kind of using these fingers, the rest of the fingers on the right hand, which actually add some flesh to the sound, right? And it doesn't have to be painful. It's just kind of like you play with the pick, but the fingers after the pick are kind of softening the sound a little bit. You know what I mean? So they're kind of taking the harshness out of it. Whereas if I exaggerate, if I only just use the pick, right, and just kind of went like, it would be a little bit harsh, right? No flesh. But if I soften it, it feels a lot more in control and less harsh. And I think that's a good thing. So Brent's got a good point there with okay, I'm going to go through this thing. Like, accentuate the bass notes, try raking those notes, and use fingers to soften the sound. Brent says, thanks, man, as that's what I try to get rid of as you just mentioned, the harshness. Yeah, exactly. We don't want to sound harsh. Another point, which is really so simple, is that you don't have to play loud. Just because it's gypsy jazz and it's kind of, a little bit macho, you don't have to bang it out. You don't have to play really loud. Look, what I've seen people like Nusha Rosenberg, the greats, they don't play really loud unless they want to. If you play soft and light, it can swing a lot harder and it takes the harshness out. So this kind of thing. So if you play a little bit softer, a little bit quieter, it can really help with the swing. So in combined with a little bit of flesh with your finger, and just lowering the gears, taking a step back and trying not to get so tense when you're playing this rhythm, because the tempos can go fast and then you tense up. You can do, and then it all gets a bit mechanical and the music and swing goes out the window, and that's what we're trying to keep as the main focus of our rhythm playing. Bryn says, is this the gypsy version of palm muting? Do you ever palm mute? I guess you could say that, Bryn. I don't usually, if I'm playing usual gypsy jazz style of playing, I'm not palm muting, but I personally do. I'll go, I'll use my palm when I'm playing solo quite a bit. Also, if I'm using a rhythm like this kind of thing. So in some rhythms like that finger slap bossa rhythm, I use the palm to kind of mute it. But generally in swing, I'm not really using the palm. So these rhythm tips are really, I'm trying to get you to, get that swinging feeling, which it can be a bit frustrating, but I just want to give you some pointers here. The other one I said is keep it light and crisp. That's for sure. We want to keep it light and crisp. We don't have to play loud. The other rhythm tip, upstroke. Don't overthink the upstroke. So the upstroke is basically the difference between just using downstrokes and using upstroke. If I'm just using down, I'll play it with the chord. Okay. Okay, and then with the upstroke. Okay, slow down. And 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2. So my point on the lesson plan is not to overthink the upstroke, because it's just the sound of the drums, right? It's just the swing sound that we all listen to and love. So don't get too, if it's not working, and I think overanalyzing it is not actually going to fix the problem. I think just get back to the swing and don't overthink it. So the upstroke is personally what I would use when I play rhythm. So if I was playing swing gitan at a medium tempo, I would definitely play it like this using the upstroke. So so I would use it. Basically, I would use the upstroke to get that kind of swishing, swinging sound. Welcome, Rich. Rich says, hi all, better late than never. Absolutely. I'll be posting this video like I always do, of course, at the Live with Robin section in the forum, which we call the campfire. Okay, so there's quite a nice stash of videos building there. archive from these sessions. So I'll be posting that with the chart. Okay, I've got a really nice chart for this lesson, which you'll see up there. And with those lesson plan notes to kind of help you give some context and remember what the hell was going on in the lesson. So there's the upstroke. Don't overthink it, okay? Another point, I wrote this down because I think it's important. Point number 7 is feel the swing before you play, okay? Feel the swing before you play. It sounds really obvious. It sounds, you might be thinking, well, yeah, but do you feel the swing before you play? Sometimes I don't, right? And if I see a video of me playing, sometimes I start off too fast, or I start off at the wrong tempo, or I start off a little bit flustered. And it's usually because I haven't really thought about the feel or how I want the music to sound before I start. So welcome, Eddie. Eddie's in from New Jersey. Welcome, buddy. So it's a really good point. Just before you start playing, let's say we're going to play Swing Gitan, okay? You're sitting there in a jam session or with your mate, you're on stage, however fancy you want. Feel it before you start. So how do you want it to go? Do you want it to be bum, 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 nice and laid back? Or do you want it maybe a bit more crispy, like 1, 2, yeah, like sometimes you might be in that mood. It might be the right moment in the set to do something up tempo. So think about it. Take 5 seconds to think about what feel you want. And then once you've got the feel, so you want it up tempo, right? Have that tempo in your body before you've touched the guitar, okay? Feel that swing. Listen to how you would like it to sound, like yeah, it's swinging already, right? You're inspired. You're thinking about Django and the records, and yeah, it's already swinging. So it really gives you an advantage before you start playing to feel that swing. That's what I've written down. I feel a swing before you play, because then it'll give you much better success rate of making that song swing like crazy. Bas is in the house. Welcome, Bas. He's in Drenthe in the Netherlands. Yeah, in the Netherlands. I'm in Amsterdam. It's great when you say hi. It's great to know that people are here. So yeah, I think that's a good one. Feel the swing. Sounds obvious, but just take a few seconds before you play a song to really feel in your body how it sounds, okay? Danilo says, feeling it is great advice. That's the only way to play. So true, Danilo. It's hard to quantize feel with, notes and charts and things. But if we're really honest, it's about feel and sound. When you hear music, does it feel good? So it's worth, remembering before you play a song to try and feel that tempo. There's one bit of advice. Okay. I've got 2 intros I want to show you now for Swing Gitan. And the first one is Gypsy Classic, and it just goes like this. There's going to be a chart for this. So afterwards, when I post this at the Live with Robin section, I'll also post a chart, okay? So you'll see these fingerings. So it's going to sound like this. Right, something like this. Then you're into the tune. Slowed down. Sorry, I'm going to see. Excuse me, Gesundheit. Here we go. So. Okay, so that's an intro you can apply to actually any tune in a minor key. In this case, we're going to apply it to Swing Gitan. We're going to start with the G minor 6. We're going to go up the scale. Right, the same chord, slid up 2 frets. Right, there's G minor with a B flat in the bass, 3 notes. Okay, that's G minor. Always good to know anyway. There's your G. Okay, if you're playing a solo piece, and it's good to know that there's G minor. Okay, just like that is G minor. Okay, that's G minor. And in this intro, we've gone. G minor with 3 notes, and then we're going right E flat 7, just the. Don't know why I'm giving it that vibrato. So E flat, D D7, right? Then coming down, same shape as the first shape, then going back down. Okay, so in slow motion. Sound great as an intro. Phil says, hello, Robin. I'm a bit late. Best wishes from Geneva. Fantastic. Welcome, Phil. Good to see you here. We're just looking at intro number 1 for Swing Gitan, and it sounds something like this. Okay, and for this one, you're playing it a little bit different than you would play the regular swing. Remember, we were talking about the swing just being crisp and even. Well, with this one, we're going to purposely accentuate the one bass note, okay? So we're going to go. Okay, so we're not going to make a big deal of the other two. We're just going to go. It's a really nice way to set up a tune. Okay, fast tempo sounds good. Right, then you're ready to go. So there's intro number 1. Let's look at intro number 2 now. This is point 9 in this lesson plan for the chords and gypsy rhythm to Swing Gitan, and it's called the hip chords misterioso. Okay, this is another way that we play an intro for Swing Gitan, totally different, and it sounds like this. So the rhythm guitarist would do this. Then you're into the tune there. Jan says, hello, Robin from Sweden. Welcome, Jan. Great to see you here. We're just looking at intro number 2, which is the Misterioso intro, which is a really nice way to set up this tune. And if you're playing with a buddy, one of you can do this. So you basically take the chords from Swing Gitan, right? So you're thinking of this sequence, right? The regular sequence, except you're not playing in swing feel. You're going boom, boom, A7, arpeggiating the chords, D7, arpeggiating the chords back to G minor, dom, dom, A flat, and you're going to pick different inversions as well. G minor, up to A7, 2 bars, down to D7, 2, boom, G minor. So what you're going to do is just create this kind of mysterious sound by instead of going, swing it and go, right, that kind of picking pattern. So, right, well, whichever picking pattern, but mainly look at the inversions first. Brent says, love it. That's great. That's why I'm here, is I'm stuck in a cowboy world, chord world life. That's brilliant. I love cowboy chords. I think they're overlooked in gypsy jazz. So I think there's some common ground for you here, Brent. So open voicing for G minor. By the way, this is all in the chart. Okay, you're going to see this chart when I post a video in the Live with Robin section after I've finished. So don't worry if you miss one of these inversions right now. So G minor, right? Then this is the crux of this whole thing. You've got A7, right? Second chord for Swing Gitan. You play A here. Okay, there's A. right? You know A, except you keep the G in the bass, and then you got this sound, right? So G minor, great sound. G minor, A7 with a G in the bass, D, D7, right? D here, right? You got D, right? If you put the F sharp in the bass, right? You got the F sharp in the back. Mark says, wouldn't it sound better on a plastic guitar? For sure. I know that I think Mark has got a plastic McAfee, which I'm very jealous of. And that is a fun, excellent guitar. And it would sound great on a plastic guitar. Mario McAfee made a series of plastic McAfees, which are kind of like, I don't know, like half-size guitars, but they're really fun, really sweet sounding. And Mark has one, and he lives in Queens. So there's D, right? So you got D major, these open voicings, cowboy voicings. Then you got the F sharp, D7. There's the 7. Right? So we're going G, A7 with a G in the bass, D major, D7, G minor, right, up to the B flat. Wayne Vandenberg in the house, gotta go. No worries, Wayne. Love what you do, Robin. That's very kind of you, Wayne. Hope to see you soon. Hope life is good over in Colorado. Have a great day. Great that you could join us for a bit. So, yeah. Mysterioso voicings. G minor. There's the G. There's the, sorry, A7 with the G in the bass. Frank Vignola taught me this chord years ago, and I thought it was so cool. So, G. Oh, sorry. So, da do do dee, da da. Right, A7. So we got da do do dee, da da do do dee. It's got a really mysterious sound. D7, da do do dee, da da. Remember that B flat in the bass? That's also G minor. Really nice move. Right, very nice move. Then we got A flat, right? A flat in the chart. Okay, we got to cover A flat, and we're going to go, because we're looking for fancy voicings for those chords. We're going to use A flat with a C in the bass as the major third, right? And there's the root A flat, right? You wouldn't usually play, but you could. And in this instance, we can use that for the A flat, G minor, right? A7, right? There's A. You can use that voicing with C sharp. Nice. We're just trying to make it a bit more interesting in this intro. D7. Second half. A flat. G minor. A. See what I mean? So that's the Mysterioso intro that you can use for Swing G10. I've called it Hip Chords Mysterioso. I'll post this lesson plan when we've finished, and you can see the whole package. You'll get the video, the plan, and I've got 2 charts I want to include as well. So that's the 9 points that I've gone through for part 1 of Swing G10. Part 2, we'll start to look at soloing. And remember what I said, this is really important. Absorb these chords to memory of any song you're learning, because your soloing skills depend on it. All right. So when I come unstuck when I'm soloing, it's because I can't remember the chords apart from anything. Right. So remember those chords. It will really help you when you're soloing. You go on G minor, A7, D7, G minor. We go on A flat, etc. Right. It really helps when you're soloing. Danilo's got a point here. He says, sorry, don't want to disturb the flow of this wonderful lesson, as always. That's very kind. But before you finish, please let us know where to get the pick. couldn't see it clearly when he showed the pick, and that Mysterio progression is very cool. That's cool. So the pick, I don't know where to get them, but it's called a blue chip. Maybe somebody can help find out where you can get those picks. It's called a blue chip. Definitely, it's an American pick. This is a blue chip TPR 40. Okay, blue chip TPR 40, and that's the pick. Graham's got a point. He says, I think that there might be more benefit to providing the chords for the intros, outros in advance of the lesson, because it can be tough to figure out what you're fingering. Good point. Okay. I will definitely try to evolve to doing that. This is all new to me, but I think it's a good point. And if I could get you the charts before you start, Graham is saying that will be very helpful for the fingering. Agreed there. Joe's put up a link where you can get that pick. Copy and paste that. Thanks, Morris. Thanks, Joe. Thanks, Danilo. It's a nice pick. I've got a few other picks, you know, they're really kind of, this is quite soft, and it gives a much softer sound, which I'm kind of liking it recently. Brent says, could you show the headstock of that guitar? I want to see if there's a 0 fret on it. Sounds fine, by the way. So can you see that? So this is a Gypsy Pollock guitar. It's actually the, yeah, there is a 0 fret, Brent. See the 0 fret? And it's the Swing 42 model. So yeah, it's a nice piece. So there were some questions earlier. I just want to check that I didn't miss them. Yeah, a couple of things about the time. Hope this time suits. It's 4 p.m. session in Amsterdam time. I know that's 7 in the morning, California. But that's the kind of people we are, right? We get up at 7. JP Soden says, Robin, might you be providing any written material based on the lesson? Yes, you'll see that in the Live with Robin section after we finish. I'll post the video and the charts, okay, a little later. Bryn says, I'm assuming you'll cover chord voicings and strumming patterns as you often do. Yes, in which case I'll be very interested in tasty intros and outros. Yeah, cheers. Yeah, you've seen it here. You've had some tasty intros at least. And actually, you can use those for outros as well, both those intros. That's usually the case. And some rhythm patterns. Yeah, we looked at keeping it light and crisp. We looked at raking the notes a little bit, concentrating on the bass notes, not playing through the whole 6 strings. Richard says, hi, Robin, enjoying the course. Thanks for that. I would like more instruction on Campanella. Love the effect, but just can't seem to get it right. I'll show you quickly. Campanella, it's a different thing. Campanella is when you get 2 strings ringing over at the same time. It's like a flamenco. Right. I'll look at that in another lesson, Richard. But I love that effect as well. Campanella, beautiful thing. Yeah, Morris said, I love learning the chords. As an absolute new student of Gypsy Jazz, I want to get this important foundation down and be a strong rhythm player. Good idea. We need strong rhythm players. Ian says, nice kitchen. Yeah. How do you like the kitchen? I'm not as good as a cook as the kitchen is. Brent says, yes, indeed, got your XXX, and that one is mighty, inviting looking sound. It is beautiful as well, Brent. It really complements the other one. It's got a kind of more open sound, and yeah, it's equally as beautiful. Anyway, I'm going to jump off. I really thank you all for joining this broadcast, whether you're watching now or whether you're watching in the future. And if you've got a suggestion or an idea or something you want me to do, then let me know. I could do a video lesson tailored to what you want, okay? And you can find me in the Ask Robin section. There's an Ask Robin section in the Campfire. Go there and let me know what you want to look at, and I'll help you there. Apart from that, I'm wishing you all the best for 2019. It's going to be a swinging year. We've got retreats coming up around the world. We've got one coming up in Amsterdam in a couple of weeks. We'll be down in Australia, Perth, Australia, in February, March. We're going to be in LA, in California in May. Details coming soon. And we're carrying on. So I promised myself to teach and help even more people with guitar this year. So that's my mission, and I love doing it. So Paul, it's a great lesson. Thanks. Great you could join. Donna, have a great weekend. Shabbat Shalom. And well, see you all soon, huh? Yeah, I don't even want to leave, but I guess I've got to. Have a great day. Stay inspired and keep swinging. Here we go. I'll end now. See you.